Love and immunity, beloveds. What is knowledge and wisdom within? I said I was going to come back on here, but as I've given myself time, reflection, as I've allowed God to work more obediently and prosperously and abundantly within myself, Jesus stated something that was very beautiful. And he told us, I came here to give you life and life abundantly. And a lot of people don't comprehend the knowledge of what Jesus was truly saying, because what happened was that the church didn't recognize Jesus, beloveds. If you do your research on the Bible, you would know that it was the church, it was religion, not the church, because the church is just a building. So let me get this correct with knowledge. It was the religion. It was the minds of religion that killed Jesus. They handed him over to you guys, which is the ones that were unconscious. But they had the authority to hand over Jesus. So it was truly them who killed Jesus. They knew that an unconscious being, a person who has no knowledge or wisdom of what they were doing, would make the wrong choice. And this is why it says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. So Jesus told us something very beautiful. He said, I came to give you life and to give you life abundantly. And a lot of people don't comprehend what true abundance is. See, abundance is a state of being. See, a lot of you guys don't realize that you have been taught to understand yourselves as human nature. So can I give you a better understanding of what a human is? A human is just a vessel. It's a body. And we know, or anyone of knowledge knows, that the body is just a vessel. It has no understanding. A human is just a vessel, but the being is the consciousness of that vessel. The being tells that vessel, I am a genetic code. I am a spirit. Now the body will just tell you, I am a human. I hope you got that. This is true wisdom. This is wisdom that surpasses all understanding, because the understanding that you have been taught by the world, it says, do not be conformed by the world, because their understanding is human nature. But what created you was conscious nature, which is a being of nature. So you're not even living in your own existence. The world teaches you to come out of your own existence. This is why in the book of law, the Bible speaks about ignorance, and it tells us, do not honor false prophets and do not honor idolism, because idols are nothing but bodies. They're statues. It tells us, do not honor a statute, and the very first statute is this vessel. Yes, we are humans having a spiritual experience, but we are the consciousness of the body's existence. And when the body is our existence and our existence does not exist, what is existence, beloveds? Ask, and it shall be given. Seek, and ye shall find. That the world has conformed us to a understanding that has no understanding. And this is why something like slavery can happen. It's the only way slavery, or injustice, or fear, or propagandas can blind you or I is if we are unconscious of our state of being, which is our existence. Look up being in the dictionary. It will clearly tell you you are existence. And that your genetic code proves that you are existence, and that your genetic code proves that you are in biological existence, which means that without you, there's no other form of existence unless you operate outside of your existence as human nature. So this is a beautiful testament, and many will not be able to comprehend this. Many will not want to believe in it, even though it's biological, it's biology, and it's science. And many have been so brainwashed by wanting to be who they are, needing to be recognized for who they are so bad, because the world has put us in a position where we don't even feel valued. See, a person who doesn't feel valued, they're going to hold to their idolism. This is why the Bible told you do not honor idols or false prophets, because they will not relinquish their authority. They will never give their spirit or their flesh to spirit. They just will never do that, beloveds. They will never. They are so ego-minded. They are like narcissists. They will never relinquish their soul back to God. They will never give their living right back to God. It's a fool's journey. And a lot of people don't get this. We are it tells us we're in the devil's play, or you guys tell us that. I'm not in the devil's playground. I don't believe in the devil. I will never believe in the devil, because the devil can't use my mind unconsciously to abuse me, as many people have abused me by giving me that propaganda or that understanding of making me believe that the devil did this to me. The devil didn't do this to me. People did this to me. Humans did this to me. Everything that I had to endure that was outside of my will, human nature did that to me. I'm not going to allow the devil to be blamed and shamed and created as a false representation of what man has done to me. So I want to honor knowledge, and I want to honor wisdom, and I want to honor truth at its root nature, because if I don't, then I become ignorant to my own truth living in me. I'm denying my own truth by honoring something that's not truthful. So that's another form of wisdom and knowledge, is to honor yourself for who you truly are. It says, tell him, I am sent me. See, I am does not ever want you to portray yourself as a fool or in ignorance, because you are a conscious state of being. So when you operate in that being, the truth sets you free. Always. The truth ain't gonna never let you tell a lie. It's a law within its own self. That's why it made you a cellular nature, which means the biology of a biological being, beloveds. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. But many of us don't realize that man, it says God is no respecter of man. What is greater in thee is greater than what is in the world. See, man lives in the world, which means that he lives as the body. That's what the first world is. The first world in an internal being or a genetic code is the body. Then the second world is the external body. But our first land is this body. Our first earth is this body, which spirit comes down from heaven in his spirit or consciousness and then drops into this body called earth, or the land of the law, which is spirit. Beautiful testament. God made us fearfully, wonderfully conscious states of being. He didn't make us a body. He didn't make us a physical nature. He made us a spiritual nature, which means that mind would take care of matter, which is this body. That's what E equals MC2, or the atom that formed into the molecule and then formed into the matter. So what you have is a world that has conformed. I hear you, Spirit. Thank you for your beautiful truth that dwells in me, talks through me, abides in me, and uses me as this beautiful testament and living truth to add back on to all God's children or fabrics of existence. The world takes God's consciousness and it conforms it to an unconscious state of nature called a human nature. And that human nature is what the Bible speaks of ignorance. God is no respecter of man, which is a person who understands themselves as flesh, when in truth, in wisdom, and in knowledge, the spirit is the only authority to flesh. So if you're taking your authority and your leadership from flesh, it's not living truth. It's not knowledge. It's not wisdom, because the only knowledge, the only authority, the only living truth is spirit. And we know this because blood is spirit and it created the body. So we could never take our understanding from another body or a unconscious human nature when the being, even the being, created the human. So it tells its own story. See, you are the book of life. We are all the book of life. God wrote us as the book of life, but man, or what we call flesh, or what we call human nature, they try to rewrite over God's book. And a person like me being an internal being, I understand myself only as the book of life. And I was never able to be taken out of God's conscious mind, which is his renewed mind. And that's why I was always labeled crazy or different or stigmatized as whatever the world wants to call real children of God. You know, real children of God, the ones who are consciously awake, consciously aware, who cannot operate, who cannot think as a conformed mind. They only know themselves to be, tell them I am sent me. They know themselves to be conscious states of being, and that's myself. I remember being told I was dumb. I remember being told I was hard-headed. I remember being told so many things that made me feel so ashamed and guilty of, in the words of mental health professionals, the things they will stigmatize you to make you believe you are. In truth, you are a child of God. In truth, you are a child of the Most High. In truth, you are the being and not the human. In truth, our wisdom, our knowledge, are the understanding that surpasses all understanding. You are God's gift to the world. But when we follow the world's conformity, the people of what we call authority or professionalism, they stigmatize God's children. They make God's children believe that they are crazy, are introverts, are depressed, or yes, you're going to be depressed if you're not recognized for who you are. See, the world wants you to be a stigma. They want you to operate like a artificial intelligence like them. They don't want you to be who God created you, who you are. It says, tell them I am sent me. Well, I am. I am who I am. I cannot be anything but what I am. But the world wants to make you who they want you to be. So I was very stigmatized, which is pure hate, which is pure evil. But the world can't see that because they are unconscious of them not being a being. They're unconscious that their human nature has taken over their consciousness, and now they must operate as artificial intelligence, as being who the world conforms them to believe they are, like minorities or black people or Hispanic people or Asian people. But you are first a genetic code, and that genetic code does not recognize you as anything but consciousness. It knows you not as a race, a sex, a religion, a political status, a color. It knows you as its living body of consciousness. Tell them I am sent you. Tell them I am sent you. Who sent me? My consciousness did, which is my cellular nature, which is my spirit of my genetic code or my bloodline. So God sent me here. The true living God sent me as his image and likeness. And the world tried to turn me into their conformity, which is a minority, a black person, a girl, a woman. But God don't see me in that understanding. Jesus said, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. My people perish because they have never lived as their own existence. They have never lived as their own nature. They have never lived as their own creation. They've lived as somebody else's artificial intelligence. They've lived as somebody else's understanding. And the one that God created them is a book of life. You are the book of life. You and I are both, all, we, they, us, humanity, this body. is a book of life. We are God's only creation called a genetic code. And in that genetic code is the spirit of consciousness, which gives the body, the being, to have life and life abundantly. But when we take God's being, our consciousness, and we make it unconsciousness by saying that we are a human, and the human didn't create us, the being did, then we become slaves. We become slaves to our own nature. And this is why we go out there and we work for the very thing God has given us dominion over. God gave us dominion over the air, the water, and the land, beloveds. I mean, it belongs to us. But now people are charging us for our own free will. People are making us work for our own existence. And you a genetic code. You are existence. So why you working? Why are you paying for your own existence? Ask and it shall be given. You have become so ignorant to your own understanding that God is no longer a respecter of you. And this is something we must understand with wisdom, with love, with knowledge. My people perish because of lack of knowledge, beloveds. God is no respecter of anything that deliberately just walks out of their own existence. Just like when God came back, when Jesus came, he came in the form of Jesus, the Christ consciousness. He came back in the living form to show you, I'm God. Tell him I am sent me. Every prophet came back to prove to you, to literally prove to you, God is a living God. And you guys, forevermore, your ancestors who came before you chose to be humans. You just chose to be ignorant. You chose to walk the fool's journey. You chose to live in a existence where you are now enslaved by your own spirit. It's not the devil doing that to you. It's not the white man doing it to you. It's your spirit that you're at spiritual warfare. You are the powers and principalities that you know not of. You are being abused because you abused your authority, your leadership. You abused your right to existence. And your ancestors put that DNA in you so that forevermore you will continue to walk in the wilderness until, like right now, God returns or the living truth returns or whatever. Because, many people, they hate God and they don't know this. Just like they hated Jesus and then turned around and now he's your Lord and Savior when he's not available to you anymore because you chose religion over God, Spirit, or the Christ body, or Jesus Christ, which represented the body of God. So a lot of you guys don't realize you are now here on the fool's journey. You are now here living in the ignorance in which you chose. See, a lot of you guys don't understand that a genetic code is a lineage. Do you know what a lineage is? A lineage is like a unconscious state of being that will forevermore either stagnate itself, which is called a DNA, or it will evolve itself, which is called a genetic code, which means that it will become the living truth itself, the book of life itself, like Jesus did. Jesus was the ancestor of the prophets that came before him. His lineage was already the book of life. They never honored Barnabas, or they never honored the human nature. And Jesus, what he represented the man that can come down and embody God's spirit, God's existence, God's image, and God's likeliness. See, we have a beautiful, beautiful testament called a genetic code as our book of life. It's biological, it's biology, and it's science within itself. But because you honor human nature, you take that biology and that biological state of being and that science of self, and then you let somebody teach you that it lives in the world. So everybody thinks that science is everything outside of them. Who would not tell you you are science? Who would not teach you about your own biology? You learning about animals' biology, you learning about the earth's biology, but you don't know about your own. See, this is what spiritual warfare is. Spiritual warfare is when God is no longer a respecter of man. God can't respect you. Why would he respect somebody who doesn't even respect their own living truth? And this is what Jesus stated, the truth will set us free. I came here to give you life in abundance. By just showing you who I am is you. But you don't want to believe it. You don't want to accept it. So you got to accept God into your life. He's the Holy Spirit. He's your living truth. But man is no respecter of God. Man is the biggest narcissist in the body of creation. He chooses to not honor God. Do you know how hard it is to get anybody to understand what I'm saying, even though it's facts? I mean, it's living truth. It's biology and science of itself. And many will deny it. I mean, they will shun it. They will try to kill, steal, and destroy it. Man is a very, very, he has no respect even for himself. So he can't have respect for anyone else. And I know this may offend many people, but the truth is what sets us free. My people perish because of lack of knowledge. They choose to not want to be knowledgeable in their own understanding because they've been so programmed by doctrine that they just want to be a title. They want to be an idol. They want to be a false prophet. They want to be a statute. And God is no respecter of anything that breaks their own spiritual law. He told you, do not honor flesh, but the spirit. It warned us. I mean, it gave us our own book of life to prove this to us. Your bloodline is spirit, period. So why wouldn't you honor your root nature versus the nature it turns you into so it can show you? Like Jesus came to show you, I'm the same body as you, but I just embody my spirit. Beautiful. But man can't get that. Man wants to preach and teach about God, and nothing he preaches and teaches about is even God's image or likeliness or the book of life. He's teaching you about somebody's doctrine of what God. The religious book or the religious doctrine or the pastoral that you learn belongs to man. Because your book of life is biological. It's biology and it's its own science. So man can't teach you about what you already are. That's why he made you a conscious state of being. He made you a cellular nature. But you want to claim yourself to be a human nature, which is ignorance. It's a vessel. Why would you want to be an empty shell? Now you're unconscious of you even living. Most people don't know that they're not living. You're just operating in fight and flight mode, which is it's the only thing keeping you alive right now is your fight and flight mode in your nervous system. If that nervous system shut down, and that's when the spirit says or the soul says, I'm tired of fucking with this ignorant person. I'm tired of this abuse. I'm tired of this person. When the soul can break away from you, the narcissist, when that soul can get away from your manipulation to its mind, it's out of here. Sometimes it'll try to break your ass down so bad that it'll make you weak enough so that it can leave your body. See, people don't realize truth. People won't honor truth. You are enslaving your own spirit, and that's why it destroys every day of your lifespan. You like enslaving your own immunity. You enslaving your own renewed mind to live as a false prophet, to live as an idol, to become a statue, which means you don't have no living truth. You're not a respecter of God. You choose to not honor your own spirit, your own living law, your own book of life. Man is wicked. It says, who knows the heart is wicked, beloveds? Who knows? Man is the biggest criminal of the body of existence that has ever existed. Man, woman, or human nature. Human nature is no respecter of existence. Human nature is no respecter of their own cellular immunity. Human nature is no respecter of their own genetic code. And this is something that we must understand when it comes to the Bible, when it comes to God, when it comes to truth, when it comes to knowledge that my people perish from. You perish, you die because you have never honored your own existence. No other reason, beloveds. It's pure, pure righteousness when you honor God. It's pure living truth when you abide in your own spirit. It's pure wisdom when your mind is renewed in its own biology and science, which man keeps you out of. He wants you to be in his doctrine. He wants you to be in his world. He wants you to be in his understanding. And yet you never learned your own. What created you? Why are you here? Ask. See, the only thing you come here for is to ask existence to give you life and life abundantly. But what you are asking is you're asking the world to take away your existence and your life and what God has already given you dominion over. See, that's spiritual warfare. See, you thinking that the devil is the one doing all this to you and the white man. The white man is the devil too. And anybody who conforms their mind is the devil. If you want to believe in the devil, I just want to give you, I don't believe in the devil. I will never believe in the devil. He's not real. It's just a word that people have spelled me with, that people have tried to give me a doctrine with. And you want me to fear something that's not real? See, man is a narcissist. And he doesn't recognize this. He's the biggest narcissist. And I'm not talking about the man. I'm talking about human nature. So forgive me, men. I don't want you to believe that I am condemning you or judging you. This is not about the fleshful man. This is about the being who chooses to be the human. God is no respecter of the person who chooses to be flesh. So that's what I'm meaning, flesh, the fleshful identity. So forgive me, men, because I love men, I love women, I love God's children. And I'm a respecter of all of us. That's why I come and I bring this wisdom and this knowledge so that I can take us out of the wilderness. Because the Passover is here, beloveds. When truth reveals itself, when it comes back in any one of its children, it don't matter if it's black, white, God, Jesus, Moses, it don't matter who it is. If you have the genetic code or the lineage to carry that torch, then it's going to come back in you, period. I mean, this is common sense. This is true knowledge. This is true wisdom. Are you not the genetic code? So who would that book of life be implanted in its own lineage called the book of life? So I come back on here today because this message just came to me. God has just been, he's been using the things that man hold against me, that man tries to deny from me, that man tries to deprive me of, to be able to understand how man truly operates in its flesh, how flesh truly operates outside of its spirit. Forgive me, I want to stop saying man. How fleshful minds operate outside of their spirit in the world's conformity. So a lot of people don't realize that God is no respecter of anyone on earth flesh. Why? Because you've chosen to not. I and my Father are one. You cannot be. He says, surely if you eat from the tree of good and evil, you're eating from two. God is only one. So when you eat from duality, when you eat from something that's not one in itself, how can it be one in itself? So if I'm spirit, I can't be flesh. I just got to be flesh or spirit. I got to choose. That's what Jesus did. Jesus chose to walk in God's image. He didn't choose to walk in flesh's image. He tried to tell us this. But the flesh bodies, which was religion, they said, no, you're not God. You're not God. See, religion is our biggest nightmare when it comes to spirit. They keep us in spiritual warfare. They are the deities of keeping you from spirit. The book of the Bible even taught you this. I mean, if you a pastor, if you read that Bible, if you want to be a believer of that Bible, and you couldn't see in that Bible, it was religion who did that to Jesus. And now they have Jesus, they Lord and Savior, so they can spell you with your own spirit. If you can't see this, I'm not laughing at you guys. I'm just not laughing. I have to laugh because I cried for so long, beloveds. I cried for so long feeling left out of my own nation, left out of my own race, left out of my own family, left out of my own existence by the way the world treated me, by the way the world wanted me not to choose who I am and believe in who I am and understand who I was just because that's who God created me. I couldn't think like flesh. I couldn't honor flesh's understanding because I was who I am. I got to be who I am. I was miserable. I felt abused honoring what the world was telling me to honor because it was abusing me. It's not real. It's not godly of me. It's not righteous of me. It tells me I'm a minority. It tells me all kind of stuff that make me feel less than. I mean, we can't realize this. See, the world is so unconscious. Our fleshful nature is so unconscious of what they are doing to themselves that they can't see that it is their own spirit that is trying to destroy them. Spirit is trying to get out of that body. Soul is trying to get out of your body. But the narcissist, which is the flesh, that's what we talk about when we say the ego. The ego mind is the ego mind is a narcissist. It is a true living narcissist. And what it's doing is trying to keep the spirit living as something that even the spirit is destroying you. Who can add a day onto their lifespan? Spirit ain't giving you no life. You living off of fight and flight mode. The minute you get weak enough, the minute that body gets so weak that the spirit can get up out of you, it's leaving you. And that's what death is all about. That's why my people perish, because of lack of knowledge. You perish because you don't understand your own biology, that you are a biological being and that you are a science of the genetic code. This is common sense, beloveds. And the more that I see the way that flesh nature treats me, or they try to deny me or take things in which God has already given me dominion over, God just reveals more and more and more and more of sinful nature to me. It's all sinful nature. Who would go against their own body of existence? I mean, we're one. Every last one of us is a genetic code. Every last one of us are children of that genetic code. And what we've done is we've separated ourselves. We've denied ourselves from being one in our own spirit. So do you think God is going to honor or be a respecter of you, and you're not even a respecter of your own body? That's why it says, love thy neighbor. Everything that Bible speaks of, teaches us, is of the genetic code's understanding. It's not of the human nature's understanding, because human nature is just a vessel. It's not real. Without the being operating consciously inside of that human or that vessel, you're just ignorant. You're just a fool's journey. Anybody who understands consciousness now will enslave you in your own, because you've been too ignorant to wake up to understand you put yourself in the wilderness. You are abusing your own self. Now, if you want to do that to yourself, it's like an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Now, I'm going to do it to you because you've given me the authority. You've given me the authority. I was being abused by abuse. And that's what you see in the world. You see abusers abusing abusers. Are abusers creating abusers to create more abuse? It's just a never-ending story. It's a never-ending story, generation after generation after generation, body after body after body, until you rise, until you pass over, until you get out of that darkness, which is the wilderness that the Bible speaks about. Moses tried to take his people who perished out of the wilderness. Every prophet was trying to take their people, which is their body of existence. That's just what the people stand for. They're just the bodies, the vessels. And they were trying to bring them back over into the existence of the spirit. But many can't comprehend this because they think God is this man in heaven. They think God is what doctrine taught them. Even the pastors learn doctrine. They're not learning about the spiritual God. They're not learning about the elemental kingdom of God. They're learning about man's understanding of God. Man's understanding of God is you are the body. You are just the vessel. But God didn't make you that. He told you don't honor the flesh. The flesh is a vessel. Honor the spirit. I am the truth, the living truth that Jesus told y'all. I came to give you life and life abundantly, and that the truth will set you free. Why? Because you are the enslavement and the enslaver. It's like an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. If you deny me, I deny you. God is no respecter of man. Man or flesh chooses to walk in a wilderness. You could easily pass over, but you can't pass over when your whole state of being is unconscious of itself. So there will have to be a prophet like myself or your ancestor, the genetic code or the mind that's been renewed or still has the mind of the genetic code, who comes back. They only come once in a while, or they only be able to get to certain people because many people are no respecter of God. They choose religion. I mean, I see this every day. Do you know how many pastors I've tried to reach out to? You know how many political figures I've tried to help get our nation, our people up out of the wilderness, and they literally hate me, beloveds. They hate me. If you know what a person of real righteousness, real living truth has to go through, just trying to help people, just trying to evolve our evolution, just trying to stop wars and pestilence and plagues and famine and disease and hate and crime that they are intentionally just allowing to happen for no reason. It's hard. I mean, it's damn near impossible to reach a narcissist, which is somebody operating outside of their own spirit, outside of their own mind, where they can't even believe truth. It's like truth cannot even exist in them. And this is something that it offends many people, beloveds. The things I say offend many people, but it's truth. It said the truth will set us free. And many people do not honor truth. They do not stand in it. They do not live in it. They do not embody it. See, because this vessel should be the embodiment of the living God, the living truth, not doctrine's truth, not flesh's truth, but your own book of life, which is biology and science, as its own renewed mind, speaking, having eyes and ears to hear God's ethers tell it exactly what it is. He said, didn't I give the birds in the land its own consciousness? Just like it gave you the bloodline or the cells its own consciousness, so that it can forevermore communion with you, feed you through its branches. And we ain't being fed by God, beloveds. Y'all being fed by fool's gold. You're being fed by something that's not even real. And that's why, that's another story, beloveds. I ain't trying to go there. I ain't trying to ignite anymore, but you know the truth. You know the truth. You know everything that I'm saying is real. It's truthful. It's not harmful. It won't hurt anybody. It won't destroy anybody. It won't bring war to anybody. It won't kill anybody. This is life. This is life and life abundantly, what I'm giving you. I'm feeding you truth, living truth. So how do you think the body lives? It has to be fed its own immunity. It has to be fed its own living truth. It has to drink of its own nature, beloveds. Y'all not being fed truth. Your minds are being taught to be artificial intelligence. Your minds are being programmed to live outside of your own immunity. Your minds are being spelled by understanding that you are a human and you are truly a being, which is a spirit. So nothing that I teach you can hurt you. Nothing that I teach you can bring war, or famine, or pestilence, or disease, or hate, or crime, or punishment. And nothing that I teach you can kill me or kill you. I'm giving you the mind of God, of consciousness. If consciousness is aware, you know that my consciousness rules anything unconscious. So I could have used this information and started to enslave my people like many people have done to you guys. But I would never enslave my people. Why would I do that to my people when God has given me this testament? God has given me this living truth. God has added it onto me by keeping me in my genetic code and not in fleshful nature or sinful nature. Then if I denied it, I would be just like the conformity of the world. I don't deny God. The minute I deny God, I'm back in that wilderness. I'm a genetic code. My genetic code is what keeps us passing over. Each one teach one. And when you ain't teaching and you preaching doctrine, you're not doing the will of God. You're doing the will of flesh, or what God says, I am no respecter of man. Because you are not to honor flesh, you are to honor the spirit, which is the law of this land or this body. And that law will forevermore reign supreme as its own genetic code. And every nation or every body or every next generation will be able to carry that lineage back over to the next generation and the next generation. That's the legacy of God. You have to become the legacy of God, not materialism, not carnalism, not idolism, not the false prophets. You have to become the legacy, the genetic code of God's lineage, the living truth. That's how Jesus was ever able to be born, to become the new becoming, the man of the Son of God. Each and every one of us is the Son of God until we deny our living truth. Everybody denied Jesus. They denied their own Lord and Savior when he came. They said, no, I'm going to choose Barnabas. I'm going to choose flesh. I'm going to choose to operate like the world. I'm not choosing to get out of that. It's a sickness. The world is teaching you sickness. It's teaching you hate. It's teaching you crime. It's teaching you abuse. It's teaching you to not honor anyone. If you know how that world, you know how that world operates. You know how that world operates. That world is operating to destroy itself in you. It's spiritual warfare. It wants you to not let spirit come into you. Flesh is no respecter of God. It don't want the spirit. It wants you to keep that spirit honoring a sinful nature. And what spirit is doing is every day you trying to house an energy inside of a negative body. It's destroying you. The world teaches us nothing nice. Why would it call me a minority? Do you think that's something positive? Do you think if I'm a cell, do you think that's positively charging my body of immunity? Or do you think that's destroying my immunity to life? We have to wake up. We got to see, but you free will. You don't have to choose this. You can choose to honor the professionals and the degrees and the idols and the false prophets. You can choose that. Choose it. But just remember, you are at spiritual warfare in that type of understanding. It's no respecter of God. Don't you blaspheme God. Do not you blaspheme God. That is the best way to ensure you will forevermore not ever walk in grace, in mercy, in love, in truth, and in favor. To blaspheme God, to use doctrine to tell people and to teach people about the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit dwells in its own self because it's a bloodline, and you ain't never taught them about that bloodline and that genetic code, you are blaspheming God. That is a hate that is so imperfect, so unrighteous. You would hear somebody saying, I'm not perfect. And you would know why they would say that I'm not perfect. You were made in the perfect image of God, called a spirit. And to hear a man blaspheming God and say they're not perfect, to hear a man blaspheming God to tell you human nature, to hear someone blaspheming God is a respecter of no respect. And I'm just telling you this, beloveds. I'm not against you. You are against your own living right. You are against your own living truth. When people deny me, you're not denying me, beloveds. You cannot deny me. My genetic code has chosen me. I am a chosen one. What you have done is you've taken your blessing that God brought straight to you, and you tried to destroy it in God's face. If you privileged to have a chosen one in your presence, and you try to hurt that chosen one, you try to deny that chosen one, you try to dishonor that chosen one, you got to know you just fucked over your whole generation's blessings forevermore, beloveds. I mean, we got to wake up. When people think they hurted me, I cry because it's sad to see the hate that truly dwells in people. It says, who knows the heart is wicked? And when I can see that hate in people who have leadership, who have authority, and who have the privilege to lead other people, and they have that type of energy and that type of pull, and their spirit can harm, that's when I get sad. When I see people try to hurt me, and God has chosen me to choose you, like God has chosen me to gift you with life, to gift you with truth, to gift you with the book of life. And you become a thief, a kill, and try to kill, steal, and destroy it in any level. I don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say. You've been blessed. You've been blessed. And you took that blessing and you tried to kill, steal, and destroy it. God is never going to be a respecter of you, beloved. God will never be a respecter of you. He chose somebody, a chosen one, to come down and grace you with that mercy. God, have mercy over my soul. He's given it to you. And you denied it. You tried to kill, steal, and destroy from it. Beloveds, we got to wake up. We truly got to wake up, because what I see, many times I don't go around people. I stay to myself because I see the wickedness in many hearts. And a lot of that wickedness is not because of them. It's because they continue to keep accepting doctrine, keep accepting fleshful understandings. You keep accepting it. And what it is doing in this is it's darkening your spirit. It's darkening your heart. And that's plagues against immunity, that plagues every other body of existence, beloveds. So sometimes I just stay away. I don't want to consume myself in that type of energy, that type of spirit, that type of mentality, that type of being. And it's not because I hate that person. It's because that person will harm my immunity. I have to stay the immunity in order to continue to be a blessing to this world. I can't let people curse me and abuse me and manipulate me and drag me down into that dark spirit. I have to stay above that type of conformity. So sometimes, or many times I'm alone. Many times I'm by myself and it hurts. But you know what? It feels damn good when I know I can be an obedient servant to people. When I am a true servant of God. When I am a true child of the Most High. It makes me feel good, and that's how I keep drawing from the immunity of God. I can't draw from the immunity of flesh or conformity. That immunity is a plague against my existence. It's like kryptonite. It wants to destroy me. It hates me. It has denied me my whole life. That type of understanding, that type of carnalism, that type of conformity, it hates a child of God. It hates me. And a lot of people can't comprehend this. As a child, until I was 41, I prayed every day to God to be loved, because I couldn't feel any love from that type of understanding. You hated me because I thought different. You hated me because I was weird. You judged me because I was who I was. If you could understand the curses that people spoke over my own life, over my own immunity, just because I knew life within itself, because I knew I was a soul, because I knew I was an internal being. People literally hated me. They disgraced me. They judged me. Some people tried to harm me. Many abused me. All denied me. And then they would say that they didn't. But you can't tell me that you didn't. I understand life within itself. I'm a spirit, and I have eyes to see things that the world or the unconscious beings cannot comprehend. I'm not unconscious. I am a conscious soul. And I have always been that way. At the age of 5, I can see things that many couldn't even comprehend, and they thought I was crazy because of it. Tell them I am sent me. Tell them this is who I am. I cannot be anything less. I have to be who God created me. That's why I am a genetic code and not a DNA. God didn't create me to be a conformity. God created me to be a true leader, a true prophet, a true promise, a chosen one. And that's who I am going to be forevermore, because I cannot be anything less than what I am. Tell him I am sent me. My genetic code sent me here. That's what chose me in my mother's womb. And that's what chooses every one of us in our mother's womb. But the world don't want you to operate as the chosen one. The world don't want you to operate as who God created you to. Tell them I am sent me here. Your conformity didn't send me here. You telling me I'm a minority didn't send me here. You telling me I'm black didn't send me here. You telling me all your beliefs. You stigmatizing me. You hating me. You disgracing me. You devaluing me. You belittling me. You cursing me. You spelling me. You dark and black magicing me. Didn't send me here. My immunity to the very fabric of existence sent me here. My genetic code, my living truth, my perfect immunity, the source nature of my elemental kingdom that gave me the kingdom of heaven within so that I can create heaven on earth sent me here. But the world and the conformity of the world don't want me to be who I am. They want to stigmatize me, hate me, abuse me, try to kill, steal, and destroy from me. That's not how existence works. That's not how God operates inside of its own spirit, inside of its own body of existence. That's how evil operates, or what you call the devil operates. He's a narcissist, or it's a narcissist. It conforms its mind to an understanding that does not give you your own. It wants you to believe in something that's not truthful, that's not loving, that's not pure, that's not righteous, that's not perfect. I was made in the perfect image in the likeness of God. So anybody telling me that I'm not perfect, anybody telling me that I am a minority, anybody telling me something that makes me feel less than, that makes me not appreciate myself, that makes me not value and love myself and respect myself, is no respecter of me. And God is no respecter of you, because you are trying to take, kill, steal, and destroy a child of the Most High. I'm a chosen one, and I choose to continue to be chosen. I don't want to be chosen by a world that hates me, that abuses me, that calls me a minority. Why would I want to be in that type of existence? You don't even allow me to be who I am. You show me, you told me I'm not no fucking respecter of you. You ain't no motherfucking body. This is what I see every day when I go and try to operate with my own people. They willing to perish me. I'm not willing to be perished. I belong to God. God chose me. He's trying to choose you too. He can only send a chosen one to choose his chosen ones. And all those people that God led me to, is like He led me to a city. He led me to a state. He led me to this place. He led me to all these people. And do you know, all those people forsaked me? Every last one of them forsaked me, who is their spirit, their lineage, their chosen gift from God. And it's so sad when you see these people who have the authority and the leadership to govern people, and they have that type of spirit. Who knows the heart is wicked? God made us fearfully and wonderfully, beloveds. And I don't know how else to prove this to you. I don't know how else to get God's testament into you. I've tried everything, but I will not walk in a system, honor a system that is trying to kill, steal, and destroy me. I cannot do that. That's why Jesus passed over and he rose. He didn't just let y'all hang him. He didn't even get hung. All that shit y'all teaching about Jesus is fucking made up. He chose to pass over. Why would he allow his spirit to be destroyed by people who was willing to choose Barnabas? So I got to come back again. I got to wait, come back. Hopefully they ready at this time, because generations upon generations came. And then when he did get some of them out, you know what they did? I'm Pinky. I'm going to take over the world. Now they leading the world in genocide, manslaughter, hate, segregation, duality, fear, trauma, molestation, greed, famine, poverty. Oh, I can go down to the deadly sins, all of them. The blasphemy you guys have hosted against your own spirit, and you wonder why you have spiritual warfare. Do you think God is going to let anything impure, imperfect live in his kingdom? The kingdom of heaven lives within. This kingdom is elemental. It's a law. And anything that tries to come into this kingdom that's not pure and righteous, he's going to try to wipe off the face of this earth. And if he has to use you to wipe off everybody by your mind, he's going to use an evil mind to wipe away all the evil. That's what the devil's advocates do. They just draw in, they get the gang, and then he's going to genocide them all. This is life. This is what we have created, a spiritual battle. You know not what you do. Why would God want to wage war with his own kingdom? Why do you think the body dies? He's waging war with his kingdom. You guys are choosing to bring pestilence, plagues, disease, hate, crime into God's kingdom, which is this body. You're trying to destroy the very fabric of existence with your doctrine, with your worldly beliefs, with your fleshful crime, sinful nature. God ain't letting nothing that's not pure and righteous enter this kingdom. And when you get in there, how can he add a day onto your lifespan? He's trying to get you out of that body. That's what death is. That is why we die. God is trying to get you out of his kingdom. You can't, nothing imperfect can live in this body. I'm sorry, beloveds. This is why it tells you to love your neighbor. You're not supposed to hate. Perfect love casts out all fear, because fear has to do with punishment. And when I see people operating and try to using fear tactics against me, trying to deprive me and deny me, it's just like, God already got mercy over my soul. I'm trying to give you mercy. I'm trying to bring you grace. I'm trying to bring you existence. I'm trying to allow you to be the next chosen one and your generations to come. If no one has told you this today, beloveds, love and immunity, I love you. If you guys could truly know, you don't know what you have done. You know not what you do. And God would destroy the world over and over and over and over again just to live as your image and your testament of life. And you just continue to choose to live as a body. God bless us all.